Hello everyone, in this video we will be discussing about the MCQs of cloud computing, and before moving on to the MCQs we will be discussing some basics of cloud computing which would help us in solving the MCQs easily. So this is part 13 of our video on computer science, so you can go through all other videos, so it would help you for other competitive exams. So before moving on, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. So let's move on to the video first. Okay, so now first thing is we talk about in cloud computing is the stakeholders. Now what are the people or what are the things which are directly related to cloud computing? Those are the stakeholders. Now let's see who are the stakeholders of cloud computing. The stakeholders of cloud computing are the provider, cloud carrier, the cloud broker, auditor and consumer. So you have to remember there is nothing called a server or a client in cloud stakeholders. They are the providers, carriers, brokers, auditors and consumers. So these are the 5 stakeholders of cloud computing. The next thing we have to discuss is the types of clouds. So basically there are 4 types of clouds. The first one is the public cloud, private, hybrid and community. We'll discuss one by one in detail. Now what is actually a public cloud? A public cloud is a cloud that are owned and operated by third-party cloud service providers. So these are owned by the cloud service provider, that is third-party cloud service provider. Cloud service provider, he is a stakeholder also. So public clouds are owned by third-party cloud service provider, and it delivers the computing resources such as servers and storage on internets. So for example, Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure is a public cloud. Okay, so it is basically the third-party cloud service provider. Okay, that is what is a public cloud. Okay, so now the next one is another one thing, there is a term which is related to a public cloud that is known as pay as you go. Pay as you go. Okay, so the public cloud is a pay as you go cloud. It is available as pay as you go billing mode. Okay, this is the public cloud. Okay, the next one is the private cloud. What is a private cloud? These are distributed systems. So private clouds are distributed systems, I'll write DS, that work on a private infrastructure. That means these are the distributed systems that work within an office. Okay, within a private infrastructure, providing the user with the provision of computing resources. Then computer resources may be any system which is shared by within an office. Many systems are shared by one single systems, or many systems share many different systems. So these types of things, that is within a infrastructure itself, that is a private cloud. So as we know, the public cloud are pay as you go. The private cloud, instead of pay as you go model as in public cloud, there could be other schemes which are taken into account. So the billing is not only pay as you go, so there may be other things also. Okay, the next is the hybrid cloud. Hybrid is the combination of public cloud as well as the private cloud. So it is also sometimes called heterogeneous cloud. Heterogeneous, so because it is a combination of those two things, so it will take both the advantages of public cloud as well as the private cloud. The last one is the community cloud, and they are created by integrating services of different clouds. So there may be different clouds and they will be integrating the services of each cloud. So that is what the community cloud means. Different cloud would be there. We talk about different communities. So here we talk about different clouds and we will be integrating the services of different clouds. So it is integrating the services of different clouds. Okay, so these are the cloud types. The next thing which we are going to see is the cloud service model. So very basic service model when we talk about. So there are 3 basic service models, that is SaaS, that is software as a service, and PaaS, that is platform as a service, and IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. So basically there are 3. So for software as a service, it is like providing an on-demand software. On-demand software. So you have providing a software which is in the cloud, but it is not in the system. So it is on-demand software. It is sometimes also called software distribution. Okay, so for example, email, MS Office suite, these all will come under software as a service. Okay, now the second one is the platform as a service. Now, platform as a service is, it will provide a programming platform for the developers. So it is generated, it would provide a platform. That is in the same platform we can create, we can test, we can run, and we can manage our application. So it will provide a single platform for the developers. So this is known as platform as a service. The last one is the infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a services, we will be providing infrastructure such as servers, okay, storage devices, storage space, servers, storage space, and network, and we'll provide operating system. So these all comes under infrastructure as a service. So this is what we have be doing it. Sometimes this infrastructure as a service is also called as hardware as a service. So sometimes it is called like this, but these both things are different, because hardware as a service, it differs from infrastructure as a service in such a way that the users have the bare hardware on which they can deploy their own infrastructure with using most appropriate software. So it is like on the hardware, infrastructure has to be deployed. So these are slightly different, but earlier same term were used for both. Now one more is there, that is analytics as a service. This is also a service model. And next one is the container as a service, that is CAS, is container as a service. So there are two new things, analytics and container as a service. So this was the basic of cloud computing. Before moving on, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. So let's move on to the multiple choice questions. Okay, the first question, which of the following is not a cloud stakeholder? So providers are stakeholders, end users are stakeholders, cloud users are stakeholders. Nothing like client was there. So client is not a cloud stakeholder. Okay, the next thing. These clouds, so we are talking about these cloud services are of the form of utility computing. That is, the Dash uses these services pay as you go model. So who would use the services? The cloud user would be the one who would be using the services. So answer is cloud users. See, client cannot be the answer because client is not a stakeholder. Even the end user, they won't be using the services. The one who, for utility computing, it would be the cloud users. You would be using the services of pay as you go model. Okay, next. Which of the following is not a type of cloud? We have 4 types of cloud: private, public, hybrid, and one more was there, community cloud. Protected is not a type of cloud. Next. In this type of cloud, an organization rents cloud services from the cloud providers on demand basis. So we are renting from the third party on demand basis. So it is public, that is pay as you go model. So that is on demand model. So it is public. Private, it is privately owned by an institution. So private, it would be inside the private infrastructure. Protected, it is not a model. Next. Which of the following provider rely on virtual machine technology, okay, to deliver servers? So when we talk about servers, so it is infrastructure as a service only. So it is infrastructure, service comes under infrastructure. So if it is a virtual machine, then it is infrastructure only. Next. When you add a software stack, such as an operating system and application to the service, then the model shifts to software as a service. So as we say, when we add a software stack, so operating systems, these would come under software as a service. So the word software stack itself, it told us the answer would be software as a service. Next. Dash is a complete operating environment with application management and user interface. So we are talking about application management and user interface. It is only the software, because you would have front end, back end, and you have a management thing. So it is user interface with application management. Next. Which of the following cloud concept is related to pooling and sharing of resources. See, when we talk about pooling and sharing, means we are having resources at one places and you would be sharing all these. So these things would be in virtualization only. Okay, abstraction is hiding. Polymorphism is, it is something which is different from pooling and sharing of resources. So this is virtualization. Next, which of the following acronyms refer to software distribution model? So we are talking about software distribution. So it is SAS. Okay, in which a cloud provider manages and hosts an app that user access via internet. So this is SaaS. So while discussing about SAS, I told that it is sometimes called as software distribution model. So the answer is SAS. Next, when an enterprise migrates an application to the cloud. So suppose first we have an application 1. Now this application has been migrated to a cloud. As it is, without making any modification. So what we are doing, we are migrating this application to a cloud, but we are not modifying it. So we are just hosting the application from this to the cloud. So this is rehost. Okay, so there is no modification is there. If some modification is there, then it would be either refactor or re-architect. Generally it would be re-architect. Okay, next, which of the following terms refers to deployment model in which an application runs an enterprise's private cloud? So we have an application which runs a private cloud, but it uses the public cloud resources to support spikes in user demand. So sometimes some material won't be available in the private cloud. So it would be using the public cloud to fulfill the user demand, to spike in the user demand. So this is known as bursting. Okay, so this is cloud bursting. Okay, so this was all about the cloud computing questions and answers. If you like the video, please click the like button and please don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you.